using our scam. He agreed that we should do that. In the event that the other party is doubting anything, we can call the presiding officer of that police station, particular police station. Then we go ahead with it. We have agreed on this. We came today, then we saw that they were whispering together, that because they used their strongholds, they were leading. And if they use all, we will lead, because it's left with our stronghold or our big figures. So we also said, cool, look, we are not going to allow you to bring out do the potholes, because we saw that they were selecting the ones that will favor them again. So we said, okay, if that's the case, since you have agreed for us to use our scan copies, then it means you have trust in our scan copies. So whatever police station code they mention, will provide you with the figures. Then all of a sudden, they started whispering, let us put him under duress to mention it, to declare, because this one we are leading, to declare. Then we said, no, you don't do that. You are being unfair to us. We have 281 police stations, and we agreed that we'll finish all. And because of that, we didn't protest when you were bringing your big figures. We just said, okay, because we're going to continue today. What is the reason for you to say he should stop? Meanwhile, they are threatening to kill him if he doesn't declare.
He was going.
He said, okay. The man said it is unfair to declare at this stage, because he has realized that all the polling stations you were bringing was the one that favored you. So he said, you know what? Since we agreed yesterday, let me finish all before we declare. They said, no. Declare. Otherwise, we'll beat you, we'll kill you. Declare. And quickly, the other guy stood up, went and called that they should come in so that they'll force him to declare. Now, what I am telling the media is that this is my regional chairman. We are here representing the party. The fact that His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia didn't win doesn't mean constituencies should also not win. A constituency that has been voted for, the candidate that has been voted for, must be declared the winner. Sure. And we are saying that per this behavior, we are going to rise and ensure that the will of the people is served. We won by 411. She got 34,199. And we had 34,610. And these were the figures we had. We have collated these results 4 times. And we have submitted it to the media, the pink sheets to the media. They should authenticate and see if the pink sheets are forgery or has been altered or altered. Nothing. If it has been altered, then in this case, all the 213 that we produced to you, which favored you, you should have rejected it, isn't it? Now, the other thing too is that if you know that you have won, what is the worry? Why do you have to meet people and beat them and take their pinches from them? We are not going to accept it. We are not going to accept it.
So
thank you. My chairman will speak.
So you reject the result?
Yeah, so basically you were here. You all saw what happened. The process, as you saw it, the gentleman was subjected to all manner of threats and was compelled under duress to declare. We would have to go back to the party and decide on exactly what we're going to do. Because they whispered to the EC, who earlier on suggested, after consulting her bosses, that they will be, working with the, the scanned copies, on condition that the hard copies that the NDC submits, if they cross-check and the figures on that hard copy corresponds with that of the soft copy we have, in our system, then it simply means that that one is okay. And if they go and all the pictures that the NDC submitted here today okay, the figures on it corresponds with that which we have on our soft copy, then that one is okay. And then they agreed, because they were then thinking that the document that they brought would be used. If we had used just that one, they selected the documents, the pink sheets that would favor them. So we are also saying that once we agree to this, and we use all the pink sheets that you are, tendering in today, after the EC authenticates and agrees that the figures are genuine, then the documents that we have in our system will be used till the end. This is where they disagree. And they will not allow the EC to do their way. But you see, the challenge is that this same thing happened at about 7 constituencies here in Greater Accra. They did the same thing at Domin Kwabenya. They did the same thing at Okankwe Central. They did the same thing at Tema Central. We were there. It's the modus operandi of our brothers on the other side. And it's so unfortunate. The country willingly, subscribe to democracy, as in ensuring that the sovereign will of the good people of Ghanaians will prevail. But what we are seeing now is something else. And tax all over. I don't know where we are going back to, but I pray that we'll be able to take a decision as a party that will serve the interests of Ghanaians.
How soon is this decision expected?
Well, we'll get back. We are going back into our meeting today.
Hello. Hello, OJ. OJ. Oh, I am on radio. So, live on TV. Sanda, I must say I have not been able to hear the outcome of the declared results myself, basically because single pink sheet to rely on to proceed to make a declaration. And so the EC now would have to rely on the parties present. Instead of, in my understanding of things, EC could have either called in the other parties' representatives, because there are 12 people who were equally on the ballot papers for the presidential and for the parliamentary. There are others who were also on the ballot papers. So if the EC didn't get its pink sheet, it should have been able to consult with other parties to gather a bit of evidence as far as the pink sheets are concerned. But the EC, as it stands now, as we speak today, the EC from the Ablekuma North constituency has no single pink sheet to rely on to proceed. And so when they came here yesterday, the understanding for these two parties were that there are three parties contesting the results. The EC has no result. NDC has some hard copy pink sheets. The NPP says it has pink sheets that are soft copy. When they got here, they agreed that, okay, since there are three parties to this whole conversation, let's now consolidate or agree or tally the pink sheet results. If NDC has a pink sheet that NPP doesn't have, and the EC also doesn't have, they will isolate that particular pink sheet. If the NDC or NPP has a pink sheet that the other party also has, then in this case, two people out of the three, they have a pink sheet to rely on for the EC to make an entry into each summary sheet. So the process went on the whole of yesterday, and they've been able to collate 219 polling center results from the pink sheets. It was around 8 p.m. when the parties involved, the EC said they were tired, they would want to continue today. And so they scheduled to start here at 10 a.m. We got here at exactly 9:30. We saw the scene outside the Electoral Commission's office where the NDC supporters were there in their numbers. The police had a very tough time controlling the crowd. The supporters went ahead to block the road. That was actually cleared later by the police through a lot of conversation they had on the whole issue. Then they proceeded to today where they came to the Collation Center. At the 10 a.m., when they got here, the EC officials were not present. So the EC officials got here around 11 to 12. And when they came, the one man who represented the regional director, the name has been given as Apostle Watson, he gave the directive or said that there is a directive from the EC head office indicating that the collation at all 9 constituencies outstanding, as indicated by the EC chairperson during the declaration of the presidential result yesterday, all have been suspended indefinitely. The parties involved did not take it kindly with that directive. And so the NPP and NDC said they've agreed that they will continue with their coalition today. And so that directive should not even come to play in the first place. So they were agitated. The leadership of the NDC moved outside to inform the teaming supporters outside. Then they headed towards the Electoral Commission headquarters. We followed them with our life pack. And then we got to the Ridge Runabout where I got in touch with one of the leaders, and he made me aware that the EC has redirected that they should come back to the Collation Center and continue with their coalition, because they do not, even though the EC officials indicated that their lives are at risk coming to this coalition center, they feel that since they have indicated that the police are here in their numbers, they can proceed to do the coalition. Proud to that conversation of even the EC head office giving directive for them to return to this coalition center. Sam George, the MP for Ningo Prampram, placed a call to the Deputy Director of EC, Dr. Bosmanasari, and it was loudspeaker, so we all heard the conversation. On the other side of the phone, Dr. Bosmanasari indicated that there are men who are EC officials have been threatened, and some to some extent have been assaulted, and so they do not think it is safe for their officers to come to this same collation center to do the collation and declaration of the 61 centers that were left or remaining, the results that were remaining. Sandra, the truth of the matter is, when we got here in the morning, in the collation center, we realized that the police officers moved in early enough to arrange the room, the collation center, such that they will not permit anyone into the collation center. So we've seen crash barriers all in the room. The media even has been asked to be behind the crash barriers. So, there is designated place for almost everyone. only party agents were allowed to the desk, and then the rest of the supporters were supposed to be outside. So ordinarily, the collation was going to happen in a very cordial manner per the agreement before the EC directive came to, muddied the waters. And that has been largely the situation. Now, when the directive was given for them to return to the collation center to proceed, they came, and for over 3 good hours, the parties couldn't agree to proceed from where they left off yesterday. And the situation is that NPP says they have all 281 pink sheets, soft copies for that matter, on their laptops. NDC says they have some pink sheets which are hard copies, and so they rely on that. Now, EC doesn't have a pink sheet at all. So in this case, they want to form a triangle or probably find a common ground of consistency. So if NPP has a pink sheet, a soft copy, NDC has a hard copy, then if they mention the figures and it tallies, if NDC gets, let's say, 200, NPP 300, and then the
EC will enter that in their records because there is consistency. Only for NPP to now say that if NDC is saying they do not have some of the pink sheets, the EC must rely on their soft copy. Bear in mind, the EC doesn't have any pink sheet, not even a soft copy nor hard copy. NDC says they do not have. So in this case, they would have to now rely solely on a single pink sheet to make a determination, which the NDC objected to. And so it became quite chaotic, rank cross in the whole collation center. Louver blades were broken. From time to time, you see this whole place becoming so unsafe for anyone to be here. But we've managed to bring our viewers and our listeners all the needed details there is to this whole conversation. The last and the concluding part of this whole conversation is that because the regional director actually came in, she couldn't withstand the pressure, and she actually went out of the collation center. But the returning officer for the Ablekuma North constituency, whose name I've heard as Mr. Boateng, was detained here, and he was compelled to declare the results based on the 219 collated results as at yesterday, since they couldn't forge ahead to agree on the way and modalities to continue with the collation of the 61 remaining pink sheets.
When you say he was compelled to declare, who compelled him to make the declaration?
Well, NDC supporters at the collation center say they won't allow him to step out of the collation center until they hear a result out of the Ablekuma North constituency. They want to be sure that the results are declared before they allow the returning officer to leave the premises. So by that, the NDC supporters compelled the returning officer to proceed to declare same.
There was this rule.
I did not hear the outcome of that result to put across because of the noise.
But he has declared the NDC parliamentary candidate. That's what our other reporter in the room with you has sent us. So it means that the NDC candidate has been declared. There was this rule that was being discussed yesterday around 75% of the pink sheets. Was that the conclusion they got to before making the determination that he should make the declaration, or they were simply saying there's no pink sheet left, at least we don't have any pink sheets left, use what you have to declare what you ought to do?
Well, on the basis of the 65% they claim the CI they are working with, which is the CI 127, they feel that the EC can proceed to make a declaration on that basis. And so they do not want the situation where the EC officer would leave here without making a declaration. So he had no choice than to proceed to make the declaration on same.
Yesterday, when a similar situation happened for the Okankwe Central constituency, after the returning officer of the EC made the declaration, he was invited by the NDC officials there to hold the hand of the candidate aloft and say that this is the person who has been elected. Did you see a similar thing happening today? Did this person hold the NDC candidate's hand aloft to say that this is a person by my authority who is MP-elect for Ablekuma North?
Well, that couldn't happen because the situation in the room wouldn't permit that. By the time he finished doing the declaration, he was immediately whisked away by the policemen present at the Collation Center. To be honest, no person was arrested, despite all the chaos happening right before the eyes of the police officers present in this particular room. The Accra Regional Police Commander, DCOP Kwesi Ahin, was present with his men, and the declaration happened in that regard. Okay,
now let's talk about the other party, the candidate that was not declared the winner, Honorable Free, who is a former MP for the constituency and the parliamentary candidate of the MPP. I saw you on TV earlier interviewing her and also the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the MPP, Divine Agohom. What have they been saying to you?
For the PC, the parliamentary candidate, Honorable Efriye, she indicated that the declaration was done under duress and they do not consider that as a declaration, and so they will take it up. And the fact that they have all the 281 pink sheets, which is in soft copies, they had wanted to make that available to the EC to make or authenticate the veracity of the signatures on the face of the pink sheet. That they would do. And then again, she noted that all what has happened here is not free, fair, neither is it transparent. And so they will make sure they take this issue up and do not leave it at this. The chairman for the Greater Accra Regional, for the NPP, that is in the person of Agohom, he also re-emphasized that what played out before his eyes is totally uncalled for. It doesn't enhance our democracy in any way, and he believes that the situation must be revisited and the necessary corrections effected for sanity to prevail in the Ablekuma North constituency as far as the 2024 general elections are concerned.
Fred, there was an earlier submission you made about a phone call that was made to a deputy chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Eric Bosmanasari. Can you repeat what you said happened? Who called who and who listened to what, and what did you hear?
MP for Ningo Pram, Sam George placed a call to Dr. Bosmanasari, seeking to understand why the directive was given for the suspension of the collation and declaration of results for the Ablekuma North constituency, because that is the only pending constituency in the Greater Accra region. And then we went out and chanced on that conversation. And because it was on loudspeaker, we overheard Dr. Bosmanasari indicate that his men, to paraphrase him, his men were assaulted yesterday. They don't feel safe. And the report they received from the regional director for the Greater Accra region in charge of the Electoral Commission indicates that some of their men were beaten. And so they do not think that is a conducive atmosphere for their men to work. Indeed, they want a conducive atmosphere devoid of any violence and the safety of their men. And so they proceeded to, he actually indicated that they will not allow their men to proceed with the exercise. But the Honorable Sam George challenged that decision and indicated that that would hold because per the security arrangements here, the director of CID was present yesterday. If there was anything to do with security, that should be a report coming from the police, the police outfit, and not the EC director. Is he trying to, as it were, cast a bit of or doubt the competency of the police people present at the Collation Center? And so there was nothing untoward that happened yesterday, and so they would want him to really consider his decision to suspend the collation. And Dr. Bosman Asari said, okay, well, he will get back to him after a conversation. The NDC supporters then entered their vehicles. I mean, the leadership, Sam George and co, entered their vehicle. And the supporters also had the same memo. And so they all proceeded. They started walking towards the Ridge Roundabout, heading towards the EC headquarters. I do not want to believe if the EC head office saw a signal that there are people marching towards their office, and so quickly a directive was then given again, reversing the initial decision to suspend the coalition and declaration. And so the people came back that the green light has been given finally for them to proceed to do their collation and the declaration of the Ablekuma North constituency results. They got here and it's been more than 3 to 4 hours. They couldn't agree on the modalities to proceed. And then the whole place got chaotic and they have to declare the results based on what they collated yesterday.
Okay, now what is the atmosphere now that the declaration has been done for one party and they have, well, at least Efri has spoken to you, they disagree with the declaration. What is happening now? Have they withdrawn? Because there's a statement that Fifi Kwete issued, General Secretary of NDC, asking party supporters to withdraw from the coalition centers. Is there anything else happening at the regional coalition office?
The coalition center is currently empty, completely empty. It's left with me and my camera technician, basically trying to file this report both on TV and on radio. I mean, when the declaration took place, the crowd just vanished quickly. They've gone outside to relay that information to their teaming supporters who have been waiting outside since morning for the jubilation probably to take place from outside. So, as we speak, the coalition center is empty. But Sandra, before we conclude, there are about 15 CCTV cameras in the coalition center alone. And so if the police would want to apprehend anyone who caused mayhem, that shouldn't be difficult at all. And largely, security was tight. But the surprising thing is no one was arrested.
Thank you so much, Fred, for speaking to us.
Welcome.
So that's Fred Duho. He's a man who has been at the Greater Accra Regional Coalition Center since yesterday, reporting on that very rancorous and chaotic Ablekuma North coalition exercise.
Fred Duho, our correspondent for the EC office here in the Greater Accra region, giving us an up-to-date on what is happening at the Greater Accra Regional Collation Center at the old office of the Electoral Commission, where for days, political parties, the MPP and the NDC have been challenging, results in some constituencies here in the Greater Accra region. Yesterday, they started with the Okaikwe Central, which went in favor of the NDC and its parliamentary candidate, Baba Sadek. Today, they continue with the calculations and tabulations from the Ablekuma North constituency. And as just you heard from Fred Duho, the EC has officially declared the NDC Member of Parliament or the NDC parliamentary candidate for the Ablekuma North constituency, Erabna Obin, as the newly elected parliamentary candidate or the new elected Member of Parliament elect on the ticket of the NDC in the Ablekuma North constituency. The MPP is protesting. You heard the regional chairman of the party, Divine Otu, as well as the MPP parliamentary candidates for the area, Ekuye, protesting that this was not really the outcome of the election. The Electoral Commission has just addressed the press conference asking political parties to withdraw their supporters from the various coalition centers because they are putting their supporters under undue pressure and duress for them to declare results in favor of wherever political parties. The MPP has also issued a statement just a while ago calling on the NDC leadership to call their supporters to order because their involvement in the coalition, the various coalition center, is putting undue duress for the NDC parliamentary candidates to be declared winners in parliamentary elections in some constituencies. They made mention of the Okaikwe Central and they also made mention of the Ablekuma North constituency. And this is a statement signed by the General Secretary of the party, Justin Frimpong Kodia, asking the Electoral Commission to take charge of the situation. The EC has also announced that all political parties should withdraw their party supporters from these various centers. The NDC has also issued a statement asking all its supporters and its agents to withdraw from the various, collation centers, so as there can be some peace in this particular centers, because it's been chaotic since yesterday when these collation centers were invaded by party supporters and the rest in respect of what is happening in these centers. But away from these ones and the confusions at the various regional offices of the coalition, we've also seen a number of disturbing incidents across the country. We've seen videos of how persons we are told belong to the National Democratic Congress or supporters of the party wearing party branded t-shirts, invading some public institutions, more or less forcing workers to go out of these institutions for them to take over. On your screen now is what happened just a while ago at the Ghana Gas Company Limited here in Accra, to be Jolu to be precise, where persons believed to supporters of the NDC had gone there. For what reason, we do not know, but then an intervention from the police and the military was able to, calm situation, and the individuals left the scene. We're told that some gunshot fires were heard, in an attempt by the police to disperse the crowd. And this is not the only place. From morning, we are told of how these individuals, believed to supporters of the NDC, are moving from one public institution or the other, more or less to take control, take control of the situation. So, just not today alone, we've seen quite a number of them. Ghana Gas is what we are currently seeing on our TV. We are told that they've also invaded the passport office. This morning, they were at the Forestry Commission. Yesterday, they were at the Metro Mass, workshop in Accra here, just to ask officials to leave their premises. This morning, too, we are told that they invaded the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority in Tema. It was the intervention of the military to stop the attempt to take over the premises. So we are seeing quite a number of these developments across the country, happening in Tepa, in the Ashanti region. We've also seen disturbing videos of how, properties of state agencies and individuals have been set on fire and been destroyed, and such things like that. So basically, what is happening across the country is not the best. We call on the IGP to really take control of the situation and bring, calm and law and order, across the country. The NDC newly elected president, John Dramani Mahama, yesterday at his acceptance speech, called on party supporters to remain calm, and not to let their frustration, turn them to criminals or engage in criminal activities. It looks as if this particular call by Mr. Mahama had not gone down well with the people or his supporters, and we urge the party leadership to also come and speak to their supporters again, because we are told now as we speak, this same persons believed to supporters of the NDC have invaded the passport office at the Tema station. What they are there to do, we do not know, but with the same objective to take over the place, and if they want to run the activities there, we do not know. We've seen quite a number of these disturbing videos across the country, and it is not the best for Ghana's democracy. Ghana's democracy is well respected across the world, and so if such developments are really happening, then something really must be done about it. The NDC won the election decisively, and Dr. Mamadou Bawumia, if you listen to consensus speech, even before the entire results were declared, considered and then congratulated former President Mahama, now elected President John Dramani Mahama, that, let's get the country building, or let's build the country again. So with this development, it's not the best for Ghana's democracy, and we urge the IGP or even the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, you are still the President of Ghana. Mr. President, take control of the situation. Let law and order prevail, because a number of Ghanaians are living in fear. Just imagine, the workers in these buildings or these premises. You are just in the office and then people just invade the premises. You'll be in fear, and these workers have to leave their offices, leave productive hours just to run for their lives, which is not the best for the country's development. So we urge, the country's security agencies, the president, the vice president, and Mr. Mahama, newly elected president, to please call your supporters to order for the sake of the peace of this country. That has been our coverage of what is happening at the offices of the Electoral Commission Greater Accra here, where we've seen a number of parliamentary results being declared in favor of the NDC. We'll bring you more of these developments as and when we get them. My name is Sami Wiafe. This is your Election Bureau, and this is Channel 1 TV.
This celebration like none other. The Situation All-White Christmas Party is taking over the city with music, magic, and memories waiting to be made. Think cozy vibes, electric beats, and the perfect blend of festive cheer and wild energy, all in one space. Date 24th December 2024. Venue Beyond the Bridge, East Legon. Time 8 p.m. Dress code, it's an all-white affair. Come and dance like nobody's watching. Sip, mingle, make merry, and unwrap the ultimate Christmas Eve experience. Dress to impress, bring your holiday spirit, and let's make the Situation All-White Christmas Party unforgettable. Call 0205-973-973 for table reservations and get ready to party! It's going to be lit at the Underbridge. The Situation All-White Christmas Party 2024 is powered by Channel 1 TV with support from 97.3 City FM and proudly sponsored by Carlsberg Beer, Kiss Drinks, Series, Bell Ice, Verve du Vernet, Bushmills Irish Whiskey, and Blue Jeans Energy Drink.
In the realm of national discourse, where every question demands an answer, one show stands out: Face to Face. Face to Face cuts through the noise and goes straight to the heart of the matter as your host confronts personalities in politics, governance, society, and business on the topical issues facing the country.
If you said to me that you made £1 million out of scraps in the United Kingdom at age 19, that will raise eyebrows, and I ought to ask you how you made it.
Umaru, first of all, if anybody wants to find out how I acquired my wealth before even 21, it's on the internet. I have built hotels. I've done all of that. It's all there. It's bringing me income. It's you.
They know the results and the already got to them. But I don't know which one of these guys. They know.
The area has caught fire.
Salut! Bienvenue tout le monde. Je m'appelle Apioko. You are very welcome to What's Cooking right here on Channel 1 TV. Yes, I just went to dig for my French. You see, the truth about my French is that I'm not half bad at it. I could actually teach French, mais je l'écris moins bien que je le parle. Ça, c'est le problème. But I'm working on getting my oral French back. I can write it, I can read it, I can even sing French. I'll sing for you later. But I'm sure you've guessed by now that my guest today is a Frenchman. And for that matter, we are doing some French and English fusions here, and then maybe we'll throw some Ghana ever inside too. All right, and I'll introduce him shortly. But today we're making acheke with grilled tilapia and aloko, fried plantain. Not kelewele, fried plantain. Aloko doesn't have all the same spices that kelewele has. And then we have some veggies to go with it as well. A few years ago, all of a sudden there was a huge interest in acheke in Ghana, and everybody wanted to sell acheke. So I'm sure it's something that many of you are interested in. As for tilapia, it's a staple for many people, many of us in Ghana and our diet, and I know that recently a lot more people around the world are getting interested in it as well. And as for ripe plantain, our own cocoa, Amadan True, we can't live without it. So it's going to be a jam today, a francophone Ghanaian fusion, and we'll talk more about acheke, because even though we think about our French-speaking brothers and sisters when we think about acheke, acheke also has homes in Ghana. Many of the Hanta people eat acheke. You know, if you go to a colleague of ours who comes from Elubu, she'll tell you right on the border of Cote d'Ivoire, they eat acheke as well. So it's something that we have here at home too. Don't forget, this show is sponsored by Tasty Tom, Accra, Bebre, Fortune, Rice, and Mopa. We love it. It's Mama's choice all the time, and it's always on point, just like Mama. Vital, you! Yes, you deserve a life of goodness and the new kid on the block. Everybody's talking about Kivo, and Kivo has joined us right here on What's Cooking. So a very big welcome to Kivo Pepper. We're glad to have you on board. Let's go for a break, and when we come back, we get cooking. Welcome back. This is still What's Cooking right here on Channel 1 TV. And if you're just joining us, I did say earlier that today my guest is very special. And he's special because he sort of straddles two nations, okay, particularly Ghana and Benin. And we've been having lots of conversations over the years about why Ghanaians and Anglophone speaking countries are not more better versed in the French language. And so he and I are going to, he's going to teach me some French, and we're going to do some things. But we are making acheke with grilled tilapia and aloko, and we've got all the veggies in between today. And I know a lot of people, I said earlier, like acheke. I know people who go out to look for acheke all the time. And so we are going to learn how maybe you can do it at home, and how you can even find it and the ingredients that you need to play around with the meal at home, okay? So it's time for me to introduce my guest. He is a very interesting person, not just because of his heritage and what he carries in that regard, but because of his love for gastronomy and how he blends and fuses Ghanaian and francophone flavors together. It's very interesting. It's very admirable. So allow me to introduce at this point Chef Oral.
Hi.
Ça va?
Ça va et toi?
très bien.
Ça fait
Ah,
plaisir
pas mal,
de te
pas mal.
rencontrer.
Ah, toi aussi.
Ah bon.
Oui.
Ok.
Ok. Donc aujourd'hui, on va faire acheke.
Oui.
Et
Le poisson.
Le poisson?
Oui.
Tilapia.
Le poisson braisé au four.
Braisé au four. Ok. Et
de l'alco.
De l'alco.
Ouais.
Okay. Great. So we just said we're making acheke today with fish, more specifically tilapia. Poisson is fish. You see, I understand it. And then we're doing it with our plantain. And what are we going to do with the vegetables? The tomato,
Okay, so
the piment,
we have green pepper,
L'oignon.
we have onions,
Yeah.
we have red pepper, we have fresh tomatoes, we have garlic cloves, we have ginger, we have our salt, and we have some cube.
Okay.
We have a bottle of vinegar here.
Okay.
And
Are we making a
so what we're
vinaigrette?
doing is, yes, we're going to do a vegetable vinaigrette. The acheke normally goes with vegetables.
Okay.
And some people prefer to do it on fire, others to like the fresh.
like a stir fry kind of thing.
Others like it also freshly cut and all that. So today we are doing freshly cut vegetables.
Okay.
So we're going to use fresh tomatoes, onion, and cucumber.
Okay.
Basic. That's the basic. I mean,
Right.
others mix and add a lot of other
Yeah.
things. But
Now let's talk a little bit about that acheke before we start putting things on the fire.
Yes.
So when you look at it, I mean, some people would say it looks a little bit like quinoa. Some would say it looks like fonio. For us, it looks like gari, and even smells like. And that's because it's cassava, basically, right?
cassava.
Some may even say it would remind you of tapioca, which is also cassava. But how do we get to this point? Because I know it takes about 8 days.
8 days.
Before we arrive at this
Today.
state of the acheke. So how do we get here?
Okay, so mostly what you do is you peel your cassava quickly, and you wash it, then you boil it.
Okay.
You boil it, then you put it in an aluminum foil or a clean film, whatever you want to do, and you leave it for 3 days. So it has to ferment.
It has to ferment.
For 3 days.
That's the trick.
Right.
Because when you eat it, it has a bit of a sour.
Kinda, right.
Okay.
So when it ferments for 3 days, you take another batch of cassava, you cut it into pieces, you now mash it or you grate it.
Okay.
When you grate the cassava, the one that you left 3 days ago, you take it back, then you mix it together and blend.
And blend it. Okay, so how do you blend, in a blender or?
You can use a food processor.
Food
It's
processor.
safer.
Okay, so that's safer.
Right.
Okay.
But it doesn't have to blend very smooth. It needs to blend just a little.
Okay.
When you're done, you transfer into a bowl, cover again for another 3 days.
Okay. So when you're leaving it to ferment, you do leave it in the open air or you put it in the fridge?
No,
Where
no,
do
you can
leave
just leave it in the open air.
Like how you're
It should be
fermenting
covered.
maize when you're
Exactly.
preparing it for banku or kenke to go and mill
Exactly.
it. Okay, that should be covered.
It should be covered.
Okay.
So after 3 days, when you've mixed your boiled 3 days fermented cassava and the fresh one, it normally has this the color changes a bit.
So now is it coming like this?
Not really
No,
like
not
this,
like this
but
yet.
it's a bit brownish kinda.
Okay.
Then now what you do is you put palm oil on fire, a little bit of palm oil.
As
on
in the
fire.
red oil?
Yes, red oil.
There's only.
Yes, only.
Interesting.
When you leave it on fire, you need to allow it to overheat. So you know when you put palm oil on fire and it overheats, it changes
Just
color. It
becomes
becomes
very dark.
light.
Or very light.
Light,
Yeah.
very light.
Clear.
Clear, kind of, yes. So once you're done with that, you pour it on the fermented cassava that you've left for the 3 days. Then you mix it together. Mix it together. Then what you do is, because you've left it for 3 days to ferment, you have to go back to it. Use a grater. Then you grate it again into a pan or it should be a flat surface.
Okay.
Once you're done grating, you leave it on the sun for like 24 hours for it to dry. Once it's totally dried, the next day now what you do is you put water on fire, you put a sieve on fire, then you just spread it on. It doesn't go into the water.
Okay.
Just like the way you do, we are going to do it right now.
All right. How you do quickly?
So
So you have the nice.
So once you put
cane
it,
sieve.
once you put it there, you cover it. You need to be checking consistently. You need to be stirring.
Okay.
As the heat gets into the acheke, and you stir, you keep stirring, you get this color.
Okay, so you more or less steam it.
Kind of.
Okay.
So once you're done, it comes to this. And you leave it to cool, then you have people bagging, selling, or you just bag it, keep it in your house.
That is okay. So it's something you can actually make at home.
Oh, yes.
I mean, the process is long, but if you make it in batches, you can. So how do you store this, in the fridge or the freezer? In the fridge.
In the fridge.
So you just airtight.
You just tie it in
okay, because I see that.
Exactly.
Okay, so maybe in the Olonka bag.
And Olonka bag.
And then you just put it in the fridge.
It in the fridge. Some people prefer to keep it in the deep freezer, but the deep freezer, what happens is when you keep it in the deep freezer and you bring it out, sometimes if you're not careful, you lose the texture. It does not become starchy like it has to because of the ice that has gone in it. But when it's in the fridge or you leave it outside, but it's not safe outside because sometimes because of heat, it can actually spoil. It can become very moisture.
Okay, I love it. Okay, let's start. All right, so where do we begin?
Okay, so we will first of all do our pepper sauce.
Okay,
so today I'm giving you two different types of sauces. I'm giving you a green pepper sauce and I'm giving you a red pepper sauce.
Okay, but Acheke has to go with the pepper sauce.
It has to go with the pepper sauce.
Has to go with the pepper sauce.
Yes, and also has to go with a bit of tomato sauce.
I mean, when it comes to Acheke, it's very interesting. For me, my very first introduction to Acheke, I must have been maybe 13 or 14. And one of my closest friends, she's like a sister, her mom, a part of her comes from Axim.
Oh, okay.
And so because of her, we used to spend a lot of time at each other's houses. She's like a second mother to me. Shout out to Auntie Amy. So because of her, I very early at 13, 14, I tasted Acheke, I tasted Fum, the red and the white. I got to taste all these things. So I had never associated it with the Ivory Coast until maybe 7-8 years ago when it became such a huge thing in Ghana. And now everybody was, the Ivorian restaurants and spots, eateries were popping up, and Acheke was the thing. So as my brain works, it was just a very interesting connection and another example of how Africans, we are one. We come from we are cut from the same cloth.
It's amazing how Ghanaians now love Acheke.
Yeah.
I mean, can I have more of the green pepper sauce?
More green pepper?
Yes, please.
Okay, get you some more green pepper.
Okay,
so you have some in the fridge.
Okay, so transfer.
Okay. So what are the key ingredients for this green pepper sauce?
Okay, so I have a special way I make my pepper.
Trust you.
So
I mean, how could I forget? You're a chef, so of course you have.
So you have your pepper, your paprika. You add a bit of onion. I like to use just one. I mean, because we need to fill the pepper.
It's about the pepper. It's about the pepper. It's not about the onion.
Right. Then you can add like 4 cloves of garlic.
Okay.
And then 1 ginger is fine.
Okay.